Chuck Hagel, former Republican senator, appeared before the Senate Armed Services Committee today, a necessary stopover on his way to being confirmed as Secretary of Defense. And although, again, he's a former Republican senator, it was his fellow Republicans who made the most noise opposing him. President Obama's pick to lead the Pentagon is a decorated Vietnam veteran who served 12 years in the Senate. But it's Chuck Hagel's former Republican colleagues who have mounted the strongest opposition. Right out of the gate at his confirmation hearing today, Hagel was on the defensive.
No one individual vote, no one individual quote, no one individual statement defines me.
But one vote stuck out for Senator John McCain, a fellow Vietnam vet who grilled Hagel on his opposition to the surge in Iraq in 2007. Hagel's vote against it puts him at odds with the former Republican presidential nominee and his GOP colleagues on Capitol Hill.
Were you correct or incorrect when you said that the surge would be the most dangerous foreign policy blunder in this country since Vietnam?
My reference to the surge being the most dangerous.
Senator Hagel? The question is, were you right or wrong?
Republicans and some pro-Israel groups have voiced concerns with Hagel's record, including his opposition to unilateral sanctions against Iran, his support for talks with Hamas, and a reference to an Israel backing group as the Jewish lobby.
I've already said I regret referencing the Jewish lobby. I should have said pro-Israel lobby. I think it's the only time on the record that I've ever said that.
All right, so let's get into the Hagel hearing today and his chances for getting confirmation. First of all, my take on Hagel's performance today is, I mean, he had this haggard, soggy dog look on his face all day. I almost got the sense he's saying anything just to get confirmed. Just confirm me. Yes, you're right, Senator. Yes, I apologize. And anybody else get the same take?
That would make him different from other nominees for other positions. Right. How exactly? Look, to say that his former colleagues, and he was a Republican, and he was there in front, but it was Republicans who were giving him a hard time. It was Republicans then. The Republican Party in the Senate now is not the Republican Party that was when he was around.
He was around until 2008.
Exactly. And the Republican Party in the Senate, especially, and in the House, 6 months from now is not going to be the same as it was 6 months ago. It's moving that quickly, and they are all terrified of primaries from their right, and they need to posture like this.
I think you usurped my next question, which is, where was all this Republican opposition to Chuck Hagel's positions and his votes when he was still in their caucus, and they would meet with him behind closed doors every day?
Well, I mean, I think they spoke out very much so when he had those couple of votes that he had on the Iraq War, et cetera. I mean, he was sort of perceived as the against Bush's foreign policy, et cetera.
He was one of the Republicans who turned. There were a few who voted for the war and then opposed it later on. Yeah, well, but as Michael said, is that now he wants to be Secretary of Defense, and the question is do you believe that? Listen, I think his biggest problem is that, although I think he gets confirmed, is that, he's supposed to be the Republican appointee, sort of like the LaHood of transportation, the Republican who comes in, in the Democratic administration. Well, that's not flying really well right now because Republicans aren't like, great job. And quite frankly, I mean, listen, I mean, I think, you're at odds a little bit with a guy who has, kind of ticked off Israel a little bit, has made the anti-gay slur about the ambassador, and has, rattled a few bones with his Republican colleagues over Iraq. And so the question is, can the Democrats, led by, former Senator Schumer, for Senator Schumer, who's already said, he supports him, et cetera, do any of those Senate Democrats back away? Otherwise, he's going to get, Thad Cochran from Mississippi already said he's coming out for him. He'll get a handful of Republican votes. But I didn't sense an optimistic, a guy who really carried the day today, and that would concern me a little bit. He looked, as you said, a little sad puppy who was, and you don't want a defense secretary who looks that way.
He knew what was going to happen today. He was almost going to the slaughter farm himself. But he's going to be confirmed. But with friends like that, who needs him?
But look at Hillary, though. But Hillary knew she was going for a fight on Benghazi, and she brought her A game. Right. She fought back.
But she already had the job.
I understand that, but still, but Hagel, I mean, I think that if you go in knowing full well, I need X amount of Democratic votes, I'm going to get a handful of Republicans, at least show a little feistiness up there.
They didn't seem to challenge Hillary Clinton the way that they challenged Hagel.
It's a surrogate battle for other things. All the coverage has said they're forcing the president to spend political capital. The court struck down his recess appointments. This is the first controversial one in the second term, so they're giving him a hard time.
How much of this is just the McCains and the Lindsey Grahams can't give up their position on the surge, which it's questionable if it worked at best, They just refuse to go back. They're mad because Hagel opposed their plan, the surge, and they're sticking to it right now.
The surge worked pretty well. I mean, we're out of Iraq. Okay, well, we can disagree with it, but
when's the last time you got a report out of Iraq? Al-Maliki is
who?
Oh, I'm sorry. The prime. Yeah, it gets a little confusing. But the prime minister is basically taking unilateral power in Iraq.
Yeah. Not only did he not support them then, he's now getting the big job. And you know,
listen,
why let it?
Listen,
he shouldn't have an easy time.
Here's my position on this. The president won the election. As long as he appoints someone who doesn't drool on themselves and is viewed as competent to do the job, certainly Hagel's competent to do the job, they should confirm him. Along with the Supreme Court nominees, et cetera, et cetera. I just hope the Democrats look at it that way when we win the White House. He won the election. He's the president.
We're going to stop it there. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to take you on a walk to Washington. We ride along with New Jersey lawmakers on their annual trip to D.C. Some snapshots from the train and a look at the New Jersey gubernatorial race is next. Stay with us.